Wünschst du dir jemanden, der dich versteht wie kein anderer? Jemand, der deine Wünsche wahr werden lässt und mit dir das schönste Abenteuer deines Lebens erleben möchte? Die Commerce-Plattform Shopify revolutioniert Millionen von Unternehmen weltweit. Mit Shopify richtest du im Nu deinen Online-Shop ein, ganz ohne Programmier- oder Designkenntnisse. Dank der effizienten Einrichtung und intuitiven Social-Media- und Online-Marketplace-Integration kannst du über Instagram, eBay und Co. werben und verkaufen. Neue Zielgruppen zu erreichen war noch nie so einfach. Shopify bietet auf einer einzigen sicheren Plattform alle Tools, um dein Online-Business aufzubauen. Kostenlos testen und dein Business der Welt präsentieren. Shopify.de/try besuchen. Einfach shopify.de/try eingeben und loslegen. Made for Germany. Powered by Shopify. Wusstest du, dass Zehntausende deutsche Unternehmen bereits Shopify nutzen? Von innovativen Start-ups bis hin zu Familienunternehmen mit langer Tradition? Die Commerce-Plattform Shopify revolutioniert Millionen von Unternehmen weltweit. Mit Shopify kannst du Produkte über beliebige Kanäle verkaufen. Ob persönliches POS-System oder umfassende E-Commerce-Plattform. Auch Social-Media- und Marktplätze wie Facebook, Instagram und eBay werden unterstützt. Dank der ständig wachsenden Auswahl innovativer Funktionen und des zuverlässigen technischen Supports ist es ganz einfach, dein Business mit Shopify aufzubauen. Ob Produktpräsentation oder Bestell- und Zahlungsabwicklung. Shopify bietet alles, was du für die Verwaltung deines Business brauchst. So kannst du dich ganz auf dein Business konzentrieren. Shopify kostenlos ausprobieren und dein Business voranbringen. Shopify.de/try besuchen. Also shopify.de/try. Made for Germany. Powered by Shopify.
The Nigerian Economic Summit Group, in its role as connector, dialogue partner, watchdog, and intervener,
when you first start business, your target is to make your first million.
Seeks to change the narrative and trajectory of the Nigerian economy. Together with our partners, we're not just solving problems, but preventing them, because when advocacy succeeds, the nation transforms for the better. But advocacy is for the strong. It takes fact-based inputs, resilience, partnerships, courage, and a lot of heroes. So be our hero. Subscribe to our channel, listen to our messages, and engage with us. Together, we can transform Nigerian lives, communities, and businesses. Welcome to the NESG Radio.
I'm a poet, so I'm going to begin with lines from a poem written by the Irish poet W.B. Yeats and popularized by our own Chinua Achebe. Things fall apart, and the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the land. Things fall apart, and the center cannot hold. And I start with those lines because I want to ask, why are things in such danger of falling apart in the country today? The answer is an open secret. Every time you look at our coat of arms, it's right over there, you will see the answer to that question. It's written under our coat of arms. We call it the Nigerian motto, and it says, unity and faith, peace and progress. Unity and faith, peace and progress. Unity and faith, because it is difficult to preach unity if you're not also offering faith. The unity of the country feels like it's under threat today because too many Nigerians have lost and are losing faith in the nation. Why is this happening? The answer is sad, but relatively straightforward. Where you have a soldier that has paid the ultimate price defending the territorial sovereignty of the country, perhaps in the northeast, and afterwards the government struggles for one reason or the other to care for the widow and orphans is left behind, people lose faith. If you have a Nigerian that has graduated from university with a 2-1 or a first class, and it's pounding the streets of Lagos and Abuja but cannot find a job because of federal character, quota system, tribalism, nepotism, people lose faith. If you have a mother that takes her child to the hospital and must watch that child die because that government hospital is on strike, or if it's not on strike, it has no drugs, or if it has drugs, she has to pay the full market price for treatment up front before they would consider this child, and she must then watch that child die in the corridor. People lose faith. And when people lose faith in the states, they take solace in the tribe, because the tribe is the natural enemy of the state. When people lose faith in the state, they take refuge in the tribe. And as more and more people take refuge in the tribe, they begin to trouble the peace of the nation, unity and faith, peace and progress. So how do you defend the peace of a nation that is being troubled in these ways? Not by bullets or bombs, but by bringing progress to the people. For it is that progress that restores the faith of the people in the state. For when the Nigerian passport, when the green, white, green becomes a valid ticket to a better life, people will rush to embrace the Nigerian identity. So I am a poet. I'm constrained as an individual. I can only preach one Nigeria with my mouth. But the Nigerian state cannot be seen preaching one Nigeria only with its mouth. No. It must preach one Nigeria with its architects and its builders, with its teachers and its extension workers. It must preach one Nigeria by building roads and bridges and hospitals and railroads. It must preach one Nigeria by bringing a progress that is inclusive to all, to Nigerians. Unity and faith, peace and progress. So that now, in this time of heightened ethno-religious tensions, the need for good governance and economic inclusion has never been higher. Because in the last 20 to 25 years, driven basically by worsening socioeconomic conditions, we have seen violent fronts open up all over the country. We have seen a militancy take root in the South-South, an insurgency take root in the Northeast. If this trend continues, how many more fronts may open in the next 20 to 25 years? At how many fronts can the Nigerian state fight simultaneously? Therefore, the issue of good governance and economic inclusion has become an existential one for our nation. If we are not able to turn the tide and begin to effectively deliver a better life to Nigerians across board, then it is only a question of time before the Nigerian state begins to buckle under the increasing weight of these multiplying socioeconomic contradictions. But there is hope. In South Africa, in the aftermath of the collapse of apartheid, people predicted chaos and bloodshed. Those predictions did not come to pass, chiefly because of the decision of one man to stand up for the common good of all South Africans, white or black. We need the same thing to happen here. We need our government to commit to stand up for the common good of all Nigerians, regardless of faith, tribe, political affiliation. We need a government that will commit to investing, for instance, in infrastructure for all. Investing in the roads that unite, in the bridges that bind, in the railways that connect. Investing in our unity schools as they were meant to be. In the NYSC as it was meant to be. Investing in creating heroes out of our sporting champions who daily demonstrate on the field of struggle that victory has nothing to do with faith and ethnicity and everything to do with hard work and tenacity. If we have a government that invests in these things, then there is hope. If we have a government that is committed to investing in providing jobs for our youths, affordable credit for our startup businesses, so that people feel that they have a stake in society. For those who have houses and cars of their own, are less likely to go out on the street to burn the houses and cars of others. If we have a government committed to investing in equal economic opportunities for all Nigerians, then there is hope. If we have a government committed to investing in laws that are certain and knowable in advance, in a justice that is blind to the power, the wealth, the political office, the faith, the ethnicity of those who stand before it, so that Nigerians know that action A will attract consequence B, regardless of who you are, then there is hope. If we will commit to invest in a language of inclusion, in alternative interpretations of our own history and social realities, so that Nigerians see that poverty does not discriminate between North and South, that armed robbers do not obey the federal character principle. And when the River Niger bursts its banks, it does not just flood the homes of Muslims and non-indigents, that devastation does not discriminate, and the only way we can tackle it is by pulling together. If we can invest in narratives like this, then there is hope. Because that center, in those lines, things fall apart and the center cannot hold. That center is the commitment of the government to the common good, to the common wealth of this nation. Now, I am not the government, I'm just a poet. So I can only contribute my poems to this struggle for economic inclusion, for social justice and national integration. So I'm going to leave you this morning with a poem titled, The Wall and the Bridge. If a white man turned and called me nigger, my blood would boil in righteous anger, for the evil of discrimination is clearly established when a white man tries to treat me like rubbish. But if Hausas say Igbos are greedy and crude, and Igbos say Hausas are haughty and rude, and Ijaw says the Shekiri must die today, and Ezra tells the Zulu there is no other way, if Yorubas declare it is Awo or nothing, and we use federal character to share everything, so before you can even smile and tell me welcome, you must first ask me where my father is from. If those who were settlers but now indigents say those who are settlers can't become indigents, and the Constitution says we are all citizens, local governments keep issuing certificates of origin. If my brother passed JAM but can't go to uni because he is Tiv and he's not Kanuri, and UNIMAID has a quota for its catchment area, so he must go back to Benue or wait one more year. If it's okay to say it's not okay to marry someone just because they are Kalabari and that every tribe should have its own side, are we not then practicing apartheid? If you cannot buy land unless you're a native and cannot find work unless you're a native and cannot feel safe unless you're a native, how can we then say we're not primitive? Yet, you go to London and get their passport, then settle wherever, however you want. You stand there and fight for equality, but come back and start to use ethnicity. I don't get the logic of thinking it's different to be tribalistic and then to be racist. If you're happy to judge him just hearing his name, whatever you call it, my friend, is the same. Where there is no courage to cross this divide, where there is no faith to look deep inside, and stop judging accents and surnames and dressing, this fire we're quenching will only keep burning. Which nation can stand dividing its people? How can one build on foundation so brittle? If we cannot see ourselves in each other, this journey ends here, we're going no further. For when God made man, he gave him no facial marks. He did not make Bagi, Okun, or Angas. As sure as a black man is just like a white man, no culture is older than being human. This is the truth until we accept it. Our nation will stumble on its broken feet. For the same things can bind us that drive us apart. For the wall and the bridge are both in the heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to our content today. Remember to subscribe to the NESG Radio. Follow us across all social media channels and visit our website www.nesgru.org/NESG Radio. NESG, in the national interest.